This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map, Battle Base Beta for Game 1 of a ban mode series. And if you're not familiar with ban mode, well, I will do my best to explain it in just a moment, because spawning in the north as the Yellow Soviets, this is ZT. SFT, ZT, I believe SFT is a Chinese clan. So ZT's in the north and in the south playing the Red Allies. This is nocando. Unless it's not actually nocando and it's nocando, something like that. But I think it's nocando. Right out of the gate, we have a very bizarre looking opening. Okay, well, this isn't too bizarre just yet. It is power plant into refinery, not power plant into airfield. So it is bizarre looking for our allied player, and it's also a little bit bizarre looking for our Soviet player, a battle base beta player who doesn't build any conscripts or bears. Now, that is because of the unique feature of this game mode. Ban mode allows each player to ban 3 units of their opponent. So, on the Soviet side of the map, bears, conscripts, and twin blades were banned by the allied player. This conscript is from the sell-off of the barracks. I guess there's no way to stop that. But those units are banned from this game. So there will be no bears, conscripts, or twin blades. Still leaves lots of things for the Soviet player to build, but those early game and the powerhouse twin blade unit are gone. But the Soviet player also gets to ban some units. They have opted to ban dogs, vindicators, and multi-gunner turrets from the allied player. So no dogs for that early game scouting, no vindicators for any cryocopter vindicator shenanigans, and no multi-gunner turrets for those base pushes. Everything else from the allied player is still on the table, and for now, a little bit of a sickle pressure will be shut down. A little bit of harvester lost mining time. A couple of jabs did go down as well, so that first sickle got its money's worth. We'll see. Maybe these Riptides can jump on these remaining sickles and overpower them. For now, one Riptide is low on health. Jab does hop on out. Additional sickle is here. Terror Drone gets the kill on that Javelin Trooper, and the MCV is being brought to the forefront. Not what I expected to see is a Soviet Tesla push, question mark. I guess maybe it's not. He doesn't have a super reactor, so it's actually not a Tesla push. It is just in your face with an MCV kind of situation. You have no vindicators and you have no multi-gunner turrets, so what are you going to do against this MCV? And the answer is run away out onto the water, because these Riptides will just be mashed into pieces otherwise. And I guess they can just, play Ring Around the Rosie and run away from this MCV forever. But of course, the MCV will crush any allied units, and because this was not a war factory rush or anything like that from our allied player, these Riptides don't have a lot of power to stop this. Barracks is being shut down by those sickles, and both of the harvesters are being harassed or off the line now with the sickle jump in. Terror Drone gets the lockdown on a couple of these Riptides, but ultimately none of them have actually gone down. They've all survived. They're all out onto the water, but of course these harvesters aren't doing as much as they would like. What's up with these sickles? 2 of them are inside. They finally now attacking this harvester. They will eventually kill it off, and the Riptides are being kept at bay by this MCV, and this is some of the goofiness that can happen with the ban mode series. You can ban 3 of your opponent's units, and it forces them to play differently, but then they can also do the same thing to you, and this is not like any SVA I have ever seen on Red Alert 3 on Battle Base Beta. But we have a Tier 2 and an Assault Destroyer as well. The Riptides will be able to get the kill, and that MCV packs up for just a moment. The Sickles are going to be forced to run away, and now ZT is, I think, a bit overconfident in what he could accomplish with those Sickles. He did not stop the Tier 2. He did shut down both of the refineries. One of them will soon have a harvester back online, and the oil derrick was never captured by the allied player, so he doesn't have that additional income. The thing that's saving him is perhaps this unknown refinery out here on the water. nocando managed to get a 3rd ref up and running, and I think ZT was unaware of that. So his push in with the sickles, with the terror drones, unable to completely shut down the economy of the allied player, and now ZT is in this very awkward position. He's got 2 refineries and 1 war factory. I think he's rebuilding his MCV. He's going to hope to get his feet back under him for a little bit more of a traditional game. Of course, no bears, no conscripts, no twin blades for the Soviet player. Black hole armor is being activated, and quite possibly he has begun to suspect that there is a water refinery, but I have to imagine that there would have been at least 2 twin blade attempts, two terror drone attempts to try and shut down that refinery. You send 2 terror drones, one gets the infect, the other one stasises the harvester so it can't run. It forces the riptides, at least one of the riptides, to move over here, maybe even 2 of the riptides, to try and deal with that terror drone harass, and then that allows the MCV and the sickles to do more here at the front door. Engineer does manage to get out. Peacekeeper will be able to keep that engineer safe for now, and the harvester is going to be infected. The terror drone, very nicely timed there, manages to get in before the walls, and there's not a lot of repairs close by for this harvester, so it may go down before it can reach the naval yard. It's going to be close one way or the other, and the terror drone will get the infect and kill on the harvester, but then gets killed itself. So that's 2 more harvesters down, and again, no can do, being saved by his water expansion and his oil derrick. Now, if you want to play this game mode for yourself, if you want to try it out, I will post a link to the downloads for this map series for this map mode in the description. And if you play on RA3 BattleNet, the Chinese server, they are included there as well. So Toolman has packaged them along with the maps that you get. And yeah, so they're available in both places. Conyard finally finishes up the super reactor, and oil derrick is now going to be harassed. Precision bomber comes in, takes a chunk out of that ore collector. Oil derrick takes a bit of damage, but ultimately both players stabilizing a bit here. Allied player finally has all of his harvesters working at the same time, which has been a bit of a novelty for most of this game. And the terror drone will get the infect. I think the harvester can make it back in time. Okay, I was worried that the riptide was going to cause some pathing problems for that harvester, but it is fine. He will make it there with, I don't know, 25% health or something, and the harvester can get back off the line, or back on the line, as it's only a little bit of lost mining time that No Can Do has to deal with there out on the water. Expansion coming up. Command Hub will be ready to deploy a refinery, and it is now a 4 refinery plus an oil derrick allied player versus a 3 refinery oil derrick Soviet player. And normally you want the reverse. The Soviet player wants to be 1 base up on the allied player, but there's been so much lost mining time, so many rebuilt harvesters by No Can Do, that you really look at these players almost more as being equal in economy, even though No Can Do is ahead in refineries. And soon he will catch up in total resources gathered as well. And now things look kind of normal. It's not that different from a different kind of battle-based beta game, but the path that we took to get here was extraordinarily different. Harvester does get spotted. This refinery location is going to be under threat from the hammer tanks, and the Jav might actually get a kill on one of these hammer tanks. No, not low enough health, and the crush will come in. Try to protect that command hub, trying to keep it alive for as long as possible. And the Dolphin is also kind of spotting this potential expansion from that MCV. 4 hammer tanks, that's a big chunk of your army that is missing, that is across the map. Maybe No Can Do can find some kind of an opportunity to walk in and do some damage. There's an unprotected 3rd, although satellites are going to be dropping, helping these hammer tanks to finish off this expansion that much more quickly. Leech Beam will allow most of these remaining hammer tanks to stay very high health. And build radius is now gone for the allied player. I guess these peacekeepers are going to scare away the hammer tanks. They're either worried about the cross map or they're worried about their own lives. They're going to try and find a different angle to get onto the harvester. I'm not sure exactly where these hammer tanks want to go in terms of their last days, But this harvester is going to try and get saved by the Javs inside of the Civ structure. And the hammer tanks are going to maybe just leech away this refinery. Find the one safe spot that is safe from that javelin trooper. And this last javelin trooper may get one hammer tank before he gets crushed. Hammer tank does go down. Big group of infantry in the middle of the map. And an iron curtain here as well. 3 minutes before ZT can do something. He can use it to nuke all of the infantry. He can use it to iron curtain his own stuff. A bunch of terror drones with iron curtain can be a great army stopping force. Peacekeepers and Javs going to be able to take that V4 down, completely eliminated. And APOC tanks now out on the map. The refinery has not been shut down. Oh, the Spectrum Tower gets deployed. No multi-gunner turrets, but Spectrum Towers are still on the menu. Double laser lock on the building, going to be forcing that War Factory to sell off. Iron Curtain, Tier 3, and Super Reactor, as well as the Crane, all critical tech structures going to be under threat here from this Assault Destroyer infantry army. V4 shot does split. It will not hit the APOC tank in a friendly fire battle, and the APOC tank nearly dead. The Javs doing good work, and the APOC not going to... Oh, he gets actually all of the Javs. The micro doesn't come through, and the Javs don't split to keep themselves alive. Cryocopter is now out on the field. Terror drone moves forward, will be able to get one Peacekeeper, gets both of the Javs as well, but won't get the infect on the Assault Destroyer, and the second Terror drone will be able to infect that Assault Destroyer and knock it down. Natasha steps out onto the field. 2 Cryocopters here will be able to freeze her without too much trouble. 1 minute 30 on the Iron Curtain. And no Vindicators, but you still do have other options as the allied player, and we'll see if it's just going to be Precision Bomb or if it's going to be Cryocopters in combination with ground forces. And for now, they are going to be backed up by quite a few infantry. Assault Destroyer gets cleaned up. Bullfrog is now out. Javs and Peacekeepers will be able to quickly deal with that Bullfrog. Not a lot of hope for that Bullfrog to shut down this attack by itself. It really needs something else to go with the Bullfrog. MiGs would be a possible answer here, but the dance between the Javs and the MiGs can be a dangerous one, especially when you've got 5 Cryocopters. An allied player on 5 refinery, and the harassment has had a steep decline from the early parts of the game where there was tons of harassment. The allied player economy was in shambles, and now he's up 7k per minute versus 5k per minute of the Soviet player, and that's about to be diminished as well. APOC tank is here, but that's the last unit that'll be constructed out of this War Factory. The laser lock comes in, and now the Iron Curtain will be frozen as well. The Crane trying to pump out as many body-blocking buildings as it possibly can, but ultimately this is 5 Cryocopters, which is a lot of targets to try and knock down. No bears, no conscripts. Extremely powerful forces in dealing with allied infantry, and the shrink rate on these APOC tanks makes them basically useless without all of those support units. No twin blades, no bears, no conscripts. Finally, a Cryocopter does go down, but that's 1 Cryocopter, and there's like 6 more standing behind it. Another Cryocopter does go down, but it is too little too late. MiG shows up. Peacekeeper's not getting the final kills, and the APOC is not back up to full size. The Riptides will be able to cut through that APOC tank. They don't even need to kill it particularly quickly. MiG finally gets a couple of good shots off now. More and more of these Cryocopters are being annihilated, and the MiG is not being dealt with. APOC tank finally getting a couple of kills here, and the Riptides will be shut down. But the allied player still has so much time to just do whatever he wants. Cryocopters going for more freezes. Iron Curtain does get saved. A couple of times now this Iron Curtain has been almost killed, but it will be preserved here by the Soviet player. Another shrink comes in, and the APOC tank being repaired, being shot up by these Peacekeepers. And the Peacekeepers, no real natural counters from the Soviet player. Desperately trying to keep everything still going. The precision bomber comes in. There goes the Crane. And there's there's 1 jab, 2 jabs in this army. As a hammer tank comes out, the jabs and the Peacekeeper's going to split away, and the crushes don't come through. So that is going to be a dead hammer tank. Possibly just typing in chat, between these two players at this point. Hammer Tank goes for some more crushes, and another barracks comes in, but it's just a body block. Again, no bears and no conscripts. Bears would make this defense so much easier, having them at least as an option, not just having terror drones and sickles to deal with these units. And the APOC tank has to make a decision. Well, it's going to be the body block that saves that Iron Curtain once again. The MiG standing on Overwatch, but the Jav's not doing anything about it. This APOC tank not moving for the crush as the super reactor gets lit up. And that's going to be the end of the tech. That's going to be lights out for this Soviet player. He is way overdrawn on power, and it's going to take so long to get that super reactor back up and running. MiG falls to pieces. A couple of conscripts from sold off and destroyed buildings, but they get jumped on and eaten alive. Tier 3 gets canceled, and that is going to be ZT defeated. Down on economy, down on everything there at the end. The slow burn from nocando getting him the win here on Battle Base Beta. And welcome now to Cabana Republic. We're switching up the map. We're switching up the colors. We are switching up the matchup as well. But staying the same. Playing the Soviets. This is ZT. Meanwhile, playing the red. Playing the Empire. This is nocando. Looking to continue the win streak from game 1. Soviets versus Empire. The banned units for the Soviets being Bear, Flak Trooper, and Twin Blade. So nocando has banned those units from ZT, and ZT has banned the Tangu, the Tank Buster, and the Wave Force Artillery. Now, Wave Force being tier 3 gives, I believe, 1k starting cash to the Soviet player. I don't remember why all of the justifications that XYHC has for these bans, but for example, banning your opponent's harvester so they can't collect gives your opponent 3 grand starting cash. So they can't build any harvesters, they have to rush, and as a extra benefit for that, they get 3 grand starting cash more to burn. Whereas if you ban a tier 3 unit of your opponent's, it gives you 1k for, I don't remember why. XYHC has actually explained this, maybe he'll explain it again in the comments, and I don't remember why. Whereas if you ban a Sputnik of your Soviet opponents, then that gives you 2k starting cash. Again, I don't remember what the justification was. Very quick into the super reactor for ZT. Crusher Crane was the quick option, and we'll see what this Soviet player has planned. For now, it's going to be a quick expansion, and yeah, you know, he bans the Wave Force Artillery, which gives him an extra 1,000 starting cash. This engineer is gonna, is he walling the engineer in? What's gonna kill the engineer? What's gonna kill the engineer? You did it backwards. He walled the engineer in with the super reactor. His own units couldn't get to it. And now the super reactor is down, and this Imperial Warrior is actually going to get a couple of kills as well. Cleans up a couple of conscripts. 4 conscripts go down before they finally manage to gun him down. But now there's a second Imperial Warrior, and the super reactor has to be restarted. Once again, ZT, massive low power. The lights are out, and he is going to have to deal with this. Fortunately, his 3rd refinery is already up and running, so his economy is reasonably stable. He didn't grab an oil derrick, but he at least has that 3rd refinery helping him out. It's going to be quick tier 3, actually. Whoa, nanotech mainframe before 4:30. Super fast coming out from nocando. And another engineer! He goes for the war factory! And this is where banning bears... I mean, the Flak Trooper ban isn't that big of a deal for engineers, but banning bears makes dealing with Imperial Warriors so much more difficult. And yeah, tank busters were also banned, so these Imperial Warriors can't take out the walls, but, you know, That's not nearly as big of a deal as how much damage these engineers are doing. Double deny on the super reactor. I'm not sure what happens over here, but that super reactor was canceled. War factory denied. Super reactor has to be restarted for the basically third time now, and it is going to be 5 minutes 15 by the time this super reactor is online. And ZT finally has power in his base. He finally has the lights on. Fortunately for ZT, he doesn't have to worry about Tengu harass. Some players don't like Tengus as a unit. They don't enjoy playing against Tengus, especially with how mobile and agile they are. So in this case, you don't have to play against Tengus, but as a Soviet player, you also lose your twin blades. So a little of this, a little of that. War factory here on the high ground. And the third base war factory, or the third refinery war factory, is not actually that bad of a move in general. It can work out. It does leave some awkward spacing. You have to have really good map presence, really good map awareness of everything that your opponent is doing. Oh, this is sneaky. I love the proxy barracks and going for the tier 3 right out of the gate. It's not for the war factory, although he may end up getting the war factory tier 3 anyways, but it is for the Rico. Imagine if he just produces an engineer off of this barracks and then sells it off instead of going Eureka, instead of doing anything like that. Barracks does get eliminated, and this is a bit of a gamble, a bit of a risky play for No Can Do, but when you've banned these units, this is what you get. No Tengus? Well, it's going to be a proxy barracks and a Eureka rush. And ZT is about to get a rude awakening. The super reactor will probably be the first target. Instantly low power mode, and that super reactor will blow open this base. Harvester and the refinery can be next. Rocket Angels coming out as well. The GG gets called, and No Can Do gets the win. What an amazing proxy build there. What a weird thing to go for considering the state of the game, but that is how ban mode goes. And that takes us to our third game in this series. Playing the Red Allies in the north. This is No Can Do, which I feel like is not a very good nickname for him, because apparently it is Yes He Can Do. He can win these games, and he's doing a great job so far. Meanwhile, in the south, giving up on Soviets. He's actually playing random, so it doesn't really matter. But this is ZT. Playing random, playing ban mode, trying to make sure that the games are as entertaining as possible. And we do have a little bit of a weird situation here, where both players on either allied side have banned Peacekeepers and Vindicators from each other. And then the only third ban that is the difference is that No Can Do can't build dogs. So ZT banned No Can Do's dogs. But No Can Do banned ZT's Javelin Soldiers. So it's Javs versus dogs, and it is red versus orange allied mirror. But one player can build dogs, and the other player can build Javelin Troopers. And we'll see, do dogs beat Javelin Troopers? Because if the PKs are positioned well, which neither player can build PKs, they can just get them from sold-off buildings. The PKs can really help deal with those dogs. The Riptide will help with that as well, and we'll see if those Javs can be protected by those units. ZT manages to grab both of the oil derricks. He is going for his own seaport. He is going for his own Riptides, but of course he doesn't have Javelin Soldiers to stick inside of those Riptides. So he banned dogs early on. And by the way, there is 2 ban phases. So you can ban, I think you actually can ban 3 units in phase 1. I'm not 100% on that, but there are 2 ban phases. Typically you ban 1 or 2 units in the first ban phase, and then when you move to the second ban phase, there are different units that are available to ban. So if you see stuff that you want to ban right away, you have to ban it immediately. You don't get a chance to ban it later. And that is kind of a slight difference between some of the ways that it might, or some of the ways you might think that it works if you haven't actually played. There are actually two separate band phases with two groups of units, and the band units are revealed after band phase 1. So that is when both players know, okay, you have banned my javelin troopers, you've banned my peacekeepers, you've banned my peacekeepers and my dogs. They know that, and then they both get to make a decision of what they want to ban in phase 2. But you can save at least some of your bans for phase 2 if you don't want to ban stuff in phase 1, or if you just want to ban one thing in phase 1. Riptide does get killed off there. A couple of jabs going to be putting some pressure, and there are multi-gunner turrets available for both players, so that is something that we could be seeing here as the MCV has already left the base out to the 3rd location, and ZT says, I'm just going to go for the base push, and of course, nocando says, I am going to go for the jab push. He's going to hope that his laser lock will bring him to victory. One harvester is already down. ZT is down in economy, and he's going to be even further down in economy as the game progresses. Riptides are coming back as this one harvester goes down, and the other harvester needs to be matched on the other side of the map. Yes, indeed it has. One harvester has gone down basically on each side of the map. Command Hub will give some potential cash back here for nocando, but ZT is pushing up to the north, and it is going to be a 3rd refinery once again saving nocando. Potentially even a water expansion saving nocando, and this is a tier 2 MCV. This is an airfield. I have to assume he's going cryocopters, otherwise he just wants Apollos for the Overwatch. And it's multi-gunner turrets spawning in close to each other. They're going to blast each other. I think the timing is perfect so that the rockets will actually launch and kill off both. Okay, maybe not with these Riptides showing up. No, it is still perfect. They did the perfect amount of damage there. It is a net 0 mode there as both players go for the multi-gunner turret, and this cryocopter is going to be extraordinarily difficult to stop. Although no jabs means these Riptides really can't kill buildings quickly. You don't have a lot of options. If the cryocopter gets knocked down, this multi-gunner turret is hopefully going to start targeting that cryocopter, but the cryocopter finds a bit of a pocket. He drives away, and now the Riptides have been shut down. ZT, he's running out of steam. I thought he would have a little bit more in the tank, but he only built one cryocopter, and he didn't really get any kills with it. I thought that cryocopter was going to have a lot more of an impact in this game. Second cryocopter is now here, but where are the Riptides? Where is the follow-up? Refinery gets sold off. 4th refinery is not up and running, so it is oil derrick and refinery keeping nocando in this game. His 2nd refinery is essentially offline. Jav's now going to be coming out. Multi-gunner turret gets deployed, and this multi-gunner turret will be able to hold the line, but no, maybe not with the cryo shot coming in directly on top of that multi-gunner turret. Nocando is going to be able to break that down, and the Jav does get frozen, but where's the Peacekeeper? There's the Peacekeeper here from the sold-off building. The Peacekeeper goes golden, and he's not going to have any help from that cryocopter because he's trying to freeze the multi-gunner turret. He doesn't shut down the Peacekeepers of nocando, and ZT trying desperately to shut this game mode down, but he's managed to shut down another harvester, another refinery offline, and that harvester rebuild hasn't actually happened yet. This is going to be very close to a draw, but a couple of jabs have managed to sneak out onto the south side of the map. A Riptide as well. The engineer going for the cap, and he's going to hope to get the refinery as well. Peacekeeper will get the kill on the engineer. The Riptide does survive, though, and the other refinery has gone down, so both players' economies are essentially done. Cryo shot comes in. That is a red multi-gunner turret here, but nocando once again gets frozen. Not by a cryocopter this time, but just by the cryo shot. And this harvester is still offline. That cryocopter finding the perfect spot away from the multi-gunner turret. And ZT, he has $2,000 in the bank. He's got a power plant there and a power plant there. He can actually sell off one of those power plants if he wants to. Rebuild the refinery here. ZT has $2,500, but nocando, he's got the oil derrick. He's got the harvester now back online. ZT trying desperately. Oh, the jabs, the triple jab laser lock. That's really hard to deal with, and it's going to be a barracks that gets deployed. there are dogs. There could be dogs on the line. The MCV, I think, was going to go for the crush, and then he realized that was a bad idea. It's a bad idea anyways. Peacekeeper gets inside of the multi-gunner turret. No jabs will come out of that boot camp, and the cryocopter is so low on health, barely in the game, but the GG gets called, and No Can Do does it 3 games in a row versus ZT. And that is the wackiness that can happen with ban mode. So a huge thanks to XYHC for sending over these replays, for making ban mode as well, for just, I don't know if he came up with the idea for it, but he at least created the maps for it, and they're super fun to watch. Just a different way to play Red Alert 3, and of course you can check it out for yourself. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this ban mode showcase, and this is Sybert signing out.